And then this is an interesting one that ended up being really beneficial, is there's a 3-month summer that you get in school. And that's a time that you can actually switch between careers rapidly, try out whatever you want to try out, get a broad experience in all kinds of areas. If you do that later in your life, it looks like job hopping, not the best signal to be putting out there. You can also explore in college. You can check out a lot of different areas. And then from a purely economic, like slightly perverse standpoint, college is, if you go to a school that is good technically, and that's what you're trying to do, it's a great place to find a co-founder or to find someone to work with. So, kind of like the retrospective on this, this is freshman year. I still agree with everything here. The 3-month summer, I really changed a lot what I did each summer. I did data one summer, I did software development another summer. Now at Flipboard I'm working on in design, and being able to try those different areas out has led to me seeing a number of different ways to approach problems, and in general has helped a lot. Also, exploring, for me, I'll talk a little bit about this later too, is you want to be confident in whatever you choose to do. And if you are able to look at the entire possibility space and say, okay, these are the options that I'm not considering, it's also as powerful as doing a deep exploration of the topic that you are interested in. In fact, I encourage both. So my 3 favorite classes at Brown were, I guess, like art history. There's a class, freshman year, philosophy of the American founding, and physics class. That was a survey course across the history of physics and philosophy. My concentration was math and computer science. Being able to connect different areas and integrate those experiences is huge. So when I got into Brown, it was totally like a dream moment for me. I was ecstatic my entire life. Everyone, maybe you guys can relate to this. Everyone says, get good grades, go to a good school, and it was like, yeah, okay, did it. I got there, and it was just amazing. The people were all brilliant. I don't know if you've heard this. There is, one of the things people say is that when you are the summation of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I think that's true. People have a lot of impact on you, whether you recognize that a lot or not. When you're around 6,000 people that are incredibly motivated, excited about life, they're innovators, they're idealists, that is basically a recipe to make yourself want to change the world or do something huge and amazing. And I think that a lot of the motivation that I got during school was drawn from that environment. Of course, there's motivation intrinsically as well, but I think that's huge. You also get different points of view. And this is essentially, you learn a mindset, not just material. So every class you take, you're memorizing things, and you're going to eventually try to pass an exam probably, or do a project that proves your knowledge. But you don't remember the details later. What you remember is the general mindset of learning how to learn. Or another person at HBS I talked to recently was telling me about how, well, the curriculum for business school is actually pretty much shit. You could read a book on accounting and you're good. It's like, okay, so why are you going? And he said, well, learning the mindset of how to be a business person is completely different. Being able to absorb how to talk like a business person, how to act like a business person, how to play this role, that's what's important. I don't know how much I agree with that particular example, but I think in general, mindsets are acquired by being around people in physical environments and not through material. So another thing about, that's what we talked about. Another thing about Brown is that it's completely interdisciplinary. So again, I touched on briefly taking classes in different areas. I did a data analysis actually at Brown of basically quantifying being interdisciplinary. This was a class project we did, and it actually was a side effect of a class project. For a software engineering class we did, it was a course browser to help people find classes. And one of the things I did was convince the registrar's office to give me the 5 years of data, anonymized data, around how people chose classes at the university. And I keep coming back to this graph because I love it so much. You can actually see the 4 quadrants of education and like kind of human knowledge here. Over here you have econ, political science, history. Over here is more math, computer science, physics, technical things, engineering. This is chemistry, bio, cognitive science, neuroscience. This is liberal arts. But what's even more fascinating, by the way, the size of the nodes are how interdisciplinary the classes are. So if you're a computer scientist, you can think of this as a graph, and the edges are directed edges, undirected edges that are weighted by how many people took the same classes. And what's really interesting here is that on the fringes of different disciplines, you can actually see how they connect. So, for example, right over here, you have like biology and engineering. And at first I'm like, well, why are they so close? Why are they clustered together in this weird way? And then I looked into the classes, and it was actually bioengineering. So it was a cool topological realization based on just the pure data of what's happening in the environment. And I think just being able to explore the possibility space, and again, taking knowledge from one field and applying it to another is a very key part of college that goes beyond just the education you get in itemized courses. So this is actually, Brown was beautiful. I mean, a few slides back, it's a gorgeous campus, but this is the building I spent a lot of time in. It's an attractive building, but this is the room I spent a lot of time in. Not as nice. And so what was also interesting to me about Brown was that regardless of knowledge, the actual information you were learning, there were also bad experiences that led to good experiences. So, for example, the first time I pulled an all-nighter in this building, I walked in at dusk, and I left at dawn, right as the sun was rising, and I thought it was kind of poetic. And then the second time you do that, you're like, oh, this sucks. And when you've been awake for like 2 days straight, and you're on your 10th cup of coffee, and you're trying to finish whatever project you're trying to finish, there's no way around it. It sucks. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be doing that right then. You want to sleep. That's all you want to do is just sleep. You're nauseous. Like you feel disgusting. You don't want to talk to people. And everyone else in the room is pretty much feeling the same way. So that's a nice environment to be in, right? And what was really interesting to me about this, retrospectively, is that despite all the all-nighters and all the times that you're in the lab, working your ass off, trying to produce something for a course, in the end, there's an environment that's created of shared pain. And this environment can lead to amazing relationships later on. So some of the best friendships that I have at Brown came out of working near a person on a computer all night long and us never talking once. And then later on we started talking, we started really exploring each other. But that's bonding under stress is I mean, it's